guys, we are here with your Anhur guide action. Gonna be, of course, taking them into the ADC role, starting off with our traditional items of leather cow, going into the Devo gloves for that early lifesteal. And as is traditional, you should smash that subscribe button and ring that bell for notifications. And of course, make sure you are subscribed to our second YouTube channel as well. That'll be down in the description. Or if you're watching on Twitch, you can type in !TTY. Second channel is VODs from ranked and casuals and all that good stuff, especially now that the main channel is going to be this Twitchy learning content. So on Anhur, we're going to be taking him over into the duo lane. And of course, we are going to be grabbing that impale on him at level 1 for our clear, and this is also going to be our main ability that we are going to be leveling as well, and it's the bread and butter of Anhur. On Anhur, if you can consistently hit the impale, by God, that's going to be a good character. If you miss the impale consistently, by God, that is not going to be a very good character. The way that, say, Thanatos is. If you hit Thanatos Scythe, Thanatos is legit. If you miss Scythe on cooldown, he's a lot less legit, isn't he? So your goal is going to be trying to go ahead and hit that impale every single time. Now, with Anhur paired up in the lane, it is nice to have a Ymir here. Ymir is a aggressive support god, which is a nice pairing with Anhur, because Anhur is an okay in the clear department, but very good in the PvP department. So having another support that wants to fight early with you, like a Ymir in Ares, whatever floats your boat, is always going to be a nice pairing. Now, I do got to be careful because they've got a Karen, and Karen is a redonkulously good support, like unbelievably strong support. So we're gonna have to be very careful in the laning phase. The shields that he provides, man, the CC that he provides, and as far as supports go, his damage is not bad in the realm of PvP. His PvE damage sucks on Karen, but his PvP damage is just dumb. Just dummy dumb. So on Anhur, one of the things you're going to notice in the laning phase is you are going to have a mana problem. If you really want to avoid the mana problem altogether, you can grab the Death Toll. The Death Toll at the later stages of the game is going to be a worse item. Getting Leather Cow lets you upgrade it into Leader's Cow, which is just a straight up better item than any of the Death Toll upgrades are, but it will help you out in the early game, particularly if you're extra bad at mana management. Some people are better at it, some are worse. That Death Toll will help you get through that early game in the mana management, and you're just trading off a little bit of extra early for a little bit of a drop-off in the late game. But whatever floats your boat. It's got an impale. That Pele into the wall right there. Trying to turn around with my Robin. Trying to help him out, but we got to be careful here. Boat Boy is going to sink us if we're not careful. He's so hard to play against. He's so hard to play against. It would be nice to steal that shield. Good try from Ymir to steal that. We actually can't do this purple because otherwise we're going to miss out on way too much XP. So we just gotta hop over and start doing this, and then we'll go back and do that purple afterwards. For your level order on Anhur, you're gonna be doing it in 4, 2, 1, 3. So you're maxing out your ultimate whenever you get a chance to get a point in it. Just give you that extra damage. Then you level up your impale, gives you more damage as stun. Then your 1, because your 1 has a massive debuff on it. The slow plus the damage increase really helps out in the Anhur 1v1 department, and he's already good in the 1v1 department because his passive gives him that built-in penetration. Any god that's got built-in penetration, specifically flat pen, is gonna be good in that 1v1.
They will feel
particularly in the early game when that pen is the most valuable. And then last, you level up your disperse. Your disperse does give you more cooldown, and having more cooldown on that is nice. But what's a lot nicer is having 20% bonus damage on the target that you're hitting, on top of the fact that they've got 20 pen on them already. And then you got 20%. It's just a lot of damage that Anhur can put out in that 1v1 very quickly. Got to be careful when you're going against Anhur. Now, this does mean that Anhur is a more early game god, but he doesn't drop off nearly as hard as he used to. It used to be that Anhur late game was useless, but because of the meta that we're in right now, he actually still does hit quite hard. So no need to panic if your early game is a little bit more passive. Your transition into the team fight stage is a lot better on Anhur nowadays than it used to be. Just gotta kind of watch out for the boatman here. Now, he's not being super careful, and he is by himself, so I'm gonna give him a nice little impale. I'm gonna pop my shard for some bonus damage. Then I'm gonna pop my ultimate here and hopefully be able to finish him off. No, good Oleron ulti. And I am out of mana again, so I'm not gonna be able to get the impale for the kill. So I'm just gonna switch onto this Oleron. Hopefully we can burn the beads or something. He actually might die as well. No, we're gonna get the kill on Oleron instead of the boat boy there. Boat boy just kind of rode away. He gets a bunch of movement speed, and luckily, I think he was out of mana for that ultimate a little bit earlier, so he couldn't reverse save his Oleron. Very nice, very nice. Another nice thing about the Ymir pairing with Anhur, one, it's a classic, and so you get that sweet, sweet Season 1 reminiscence. But outside of that, Ymir's got the wall, and being able to put up a wall for Anhur is helpful because then you can impale directly into the Ymir wall. One of your classic combos on Anhur is to go ahead and throw down the pillar and then impale into the pillar, thus giving you a wall for the stun. But the pillar is skinny, skinny, skinny boy. And getting off a pillar stun is something that even very good Anhur players will miss from time to time. So giving yourself a bigger wall with Ymir just makes your life easier. It gives you that more guaranteed stun. But at the upper echelons of gameplay, one of the things that separates a regular Anhur player from a really good Anhur player is the consistency upon which you can land that pillar stun. Now, I gotta be careful in this 1v1 matchup right now because Oleron got the shield buff. So that shield buff over there in that camp to our right, if you don't frequent the duo lane a lot, you may not know, but that camp is crazy important. Not only does it give a ridiculous amount of experience in gold, which means if you're not getting it consistently, you're gonna fall behind. It also gives you a giant shield and protections, which means if the enemy has that buff on them, you can see that little glow, it becomes nearly impossible to 1v1 them. Now, the good thing is that it only lasts for a minute. So I'm just kind of looking at this Oleron and just waiting for that debuff to, or that buff to run out. Now it's off of him. So now I can actually look for an engagement here. In general, the rule is if they've got that buff, you just don't look for the engagement. So I'm going to try to jump in on him. I'm going to knock him backwards. Nope, he's actually going to throw down his combo there, so he gets the beads off. He might be able to snipe me with a one. Nope. He uses his beads. He uses his ultimate. I'm just going to go ahead and back up. Now that his beads are down, I should be able to grab the next 1v1, and it looks like our Robin should be able to pick up that kill that I couldn't. Jumping in against an Oleron is admittedly the risky play of the day because you jump into his ulti. Luckily, Anhur actually has a good matchup into Oleron because I have a CC immune ultimate that I can use to just walk out of his ultimate. And then I don't have that gnarly debuff effect on me. As long as I land my jump and he doesn't pre-beads, it was a very good pre-beads from him. As long as he's not getting off of pre-beads consistently, we win that 1v1 matchup. We jump on him, we impale him into the wall, and then we pillar him so he can't run away. When you're going for the flex play on Anhur, you throw down the pillar and then you go for the stun. but the much more consistent damage output is going to be jumping directly on top of them, and her jump is actually a very fast ability. So when you press it and it goes off, it used to take a long time, but nowadays it goes off pretty quick. So when you get that jump right on top of somebody, you'll set yourself up for a nearly unmissable impale. Hopefully they move towards a wall, and then you pillar off their location that they want to run away to, and then you get that bonus damage. Grabbing our stacks here. Oh no, I'm running away. I'm not really running away. I'm looking for Oleron, but he knows that I'm not really running away. Ooh. Now he's too far away for me to jump in on under the tower. So this would be more of a pillar stun type situation. But I'm just going to try to get some damage onto Carol Bastion. His ultimate is on a much longer timer than mine is. Going to go for the jump right here. Not quite going to land it, so I got to be careful because now I'm stuck inside of his. A wombo combo, and unfortunately their Pele showed up, which means I'm going to die, but my Raven showed up, so now their Pele is going to die. The old duo lane classic. Whose jungler gets there first? Ah, he got jungled too. I got jungled, he gets jungled, we all get jungled. Now, on this second item slot, here's the situation. Kins is going to give you more raw damage than the Executioner is, because as you can see, Kins gives you an extra 5% attack speed, plus you've got the built-in damage on the passive compared to the pen on Executioner. So in the 1v1 matchup, that Kins is actually going to give you more damage, but one, I had enough damage for an Executioner and not Kins, so having an item is better than not having an item. And also, two, the notable benefit of Executioner is in terms of the team fights. So with the Raven on my team doing so well, he does physical damage. Having the Executioner for the team fights means if I'm hitting somebody, I'm giving the Raven bonus damage. So Executioner is really more of a team fight item in that regard. Less about your individual 1v1 at this point of the game, more in terms of the team fight, particularly because at the 12-minute marker, that Papa Totem is going to spawn. Now, as the ADC, you're really the one role that doesn't necessarily show up to the Papa Totem every single time. So it's going to depend on your exact game. But if your whole team is there and you've kept your ADC over here, there's a good chance that your team is going to be all right without you. Going to go ahead and throw down the ultimate on this Oleron. Should be able to jump on top of him, give him a little Goomba Stomp, and a kill. So right there, I threw down the pillar. He was too slow. Oleron doesn't have a movement ability, which meant that I basically got a free kill on him because his ultimate was still down. As before mentioned, he has a long ultimate cooldown. Now, because we did get the kill, I'm just going to rotate over and make sure that we get the Papa Totem. Might also be able to grab an assist or another kill. Look at that. We also grabbed ourselves another kill right there. Makes it a very worthwhile rotation. Now on the way back to my lane, I'm going to do the shield buff first because that shield buff is going to give me a lot more benefit than the couple of creeps that I might miss on the wave. Plus, if I go for the wave and Oleron is back, it means we're going to give him that shield buff for free, and we ain't about giving out free XP. Unless you have like a massive wave under your tower that you're going to miss out the entire thing, I recommend prioritizing that shield buff over the wave. Makes you nearly impossible to 1v1. And you'll start to win the XP gold exchange. So for our second active here on Anhur, this is more of an advanced play. But Anhur is one of my favorite gods to get blink on. If you're not comfortable going aggressive on Anhur, Beads Aegis is always going to be fine. But getting that blink allows you to go aggressive and then keep your jump up to get away. So it allows me to go very, very aggressive, but then I still have my jump if I need to actually get away from somebody. There's that Ymir wall combo that we were talking about earlier. So nice. for the Ymir to put that wall out, because then I don't have to worry about hitting a pillar stun. All I gotta do, boop, knock him into the wall, throw down the pillar behind him so that he has to go the long way to get away. Bada bing, bada boom. That was really a perfect showing of why Ymir is such a good combo with Anhur. Gives you that bonus wall for the impales. And then we had our pillar up to go ahead and zone out that Karen. So he had to row around the long way, which allowed the Nox time to get over. Bada bing, bada boom. Careful throwing down your pillar on Anhur onto the objectives, because if you throw it in a manner where the Gold Fury is going to run through it, she will tear down your pillar, and then you're going to be missing out on that sweet, sweet bonus damage. You don't want to be missing out on that bonus damage, because you accidentally put the pillar up the Harpy's behind. So put it towards her side. That way you can get the bonus damage. Also puts out that slow, so if somebody wants to try to like blink in and steal it, maybe they blink right into your pillar and then look like a moron, you know? A little bit of extra body block, a little bit of extra damage. Okay, now we're going to back up and we're going to get ourselves a Kins. Now, I have not felt like my mana was a problem here. I've gotten pretty good over the years of dealing with Anhur's mana. I think there was only one situation this game that mana became an issue, so it wasn't too bad for me. But if you're still having mana problems on Anhur and you do not want to get a Destal, valid, because Destal just isn't as good as Leather Cow. What you can do is after your Devo gloves, instead of getting the Executioner or the Kins, you could opt for a Dominance instead. Getting that Dominance is a little bit more selfish. It's going to help you out with your own personal mana. Not having the Executioner is going to be harder for your team, particularly your jungler, because they're usually going to be physical damage, right? So they're going to get a little bit damage off in the team fights. But if you just cannot get over the mana issues with Anhur, grabbing that Dominance right after the Devo gloves is going to give you 200 mana plus that MP5. You're going to end up building it anyway, so it's really just a matter of shifting around the build. That was a absolutely terrible pillar because I thought that Oleron was going to run away. I'm going to try to give him a little up down. Not going to be able to give him the full up down, but I should be able to fight him inside of his ultimate, because we got the little bit of the level lead from earlier. Popped my beads, woo! Just to make sure that we were going to be able to grab that kill, as a Karen ult comes from absolutely down freaking town. And right back to farming, and of course prioritizing that shield buff, making sure now that I'm ahead and pushing forward, I'm buying sentry wards. This is a great sentry ward location when you're ahead. And then the other location is right up here, and also all the way over here. Those are all three great ward locations for when you're winning. And if you're losing and getting pushed behind your tier 1 tower, those ward locations on your side of the map, equally good defensive ward locations. Obviously, no point to ward back by my own tower if I'm pushing up to their tower. So if you're winning, pushing up, aggressive wards. If you're losing, getting wrecked, defensive wards. You want to try to cover off as many angles as you can over there. Now we're going to be able to back up and get the Dominance. And because we are an Anhur, Dominance plus Executioner plus our passive, we're basically doing true damage to squishies. And we're probably taking away 50+% of the total protections on tanks, which means we are actually going to do good damage to tanks as well. Now I'm going to start rotating over. Because I am level 18, I got very big, very fast. I'm going to try to use how big I am to help out the team in the other lanes. I see Pele coming in from the side. She's a better target than Karen, so I'm going to go for the blink. Okay, I'm going to try to do a little up-down here on the Pele. We grab the kill, and now I should be able to just sustain up on the Karen as long as I don't miss every single auto like I am currently missing every single auto. Stun him into the wall, grab the kill, and we're here in time for the Papa Totem, aka the Obelisk. But if you don't call it Papa Totem, we're not friends. Baby Totem needs his dad, okay? Don't take that from him. They've been separated, but it's sad. Now we're gonna upgrade the cowl into leader's cowl. A lot of people tend to go into the hunter's cowl. To be fair to the average player, hunter's cowl looks like it should be the one that you would want to pick up. And stat-wise, it's not the end of the world if you pick up the hunter cowl. It is just, once again, a little bit more of the selfish item, kind of like picking up the dominance before the executioner. It's not that it's bad so much as it's just a little bit selfish. Getting that leader's cowl, not only are the stats on it really good, but you give an aura that provides out percent power to your team. And giving out percent power is really strong in Smite. So I'm going to stick over in this dual lane until I can grab level 20 and that 1500 gold so I can back for a leader's cowl. Oleron knows that he can't push up because if he push up, he is going to die. Now I can back up with my level 20 and I can grab myself that leader's cowl. Now this last slot in an ADC build is mostly flex. This is the core ADC build right now. Devo's Xe, Kin's, Dominance, Leader's cowl. Every once in a while, just so you know, you'll see a flex on certain characters get a gilded arrow instead of Leader's cowl. And then what they do is they turn that gilded arrow into an ornate, which gives crit chance, and then you last item flex Deathbringer, and then if you've got Ornate fully stacked, it's like a 65% crit chance just to flex a little bit of bonus damage. That does really well against squishies, slightly less good against the tanks, but it does in fact do very well against squishies and helps you win those 1v1 hunter matchups and whatnot.
I was supposed to be immortal.
But more standardly, you're going to see this leader's cowl build a little bit less selfish. And then you're going to traditionally see people grab an oboe in that last slot. Now, the reason why I say it's a true flex is because there's really not a bad item here as long as you're buying an aggressive item. On a hunter, you should not be buying a defensive item. So as long as you're buying some sort of damage item, you're going to be fine. And also, it's extra funny because this build has so much pen in it. But in actuality, you have basically no actual pens. So if you go look at your pen stat, you've got 0 physical percent pen. And that's because all of the pen that I have doesn't actually qualify as pen in Smite, which means that you can just buy another massive pen item here and keep stacking it up. I'm going to jump quickly onto this Karen. He's going to go for the ulti. No reason why we can't put him down so he has no chance to steal before we grab that fire giant. So if you wanted more pen, let's say they're running a crazy tanky team, right? Maybe they're running 3 tanks. There's nothing that says you can't grab like a Titan's Bane here or even like a Silver Branch. If you were an attack speed character, you wouldn't grab the Silver Branch on Ymir because that makes no sense. On Ymir, that would really make no sense. Looking right at Ymir. You wouldn't grab it on Anhur because that just wouldn't make any sense. But if you like an Apollo or somebody that had a lot of built-in, I don't want to execute, please. Somebody that had a lot of built-in attack speed, grabbing that Silver Branch at the end, now that it's buffed and you can actually get 40 stacks, does make sense as a last flex item if you didn't want to grab the oboe. For Anhur, most of the time, what you're going to need at the very end is just more attack speed because he does not have a traditional attack speed stim like most hunters. So you usually get the biggest DPS boost from grabbing an oboe. Now, we're getting a little greedy going into the Titan room because they've still got tier 2s up. Very difficult to end a game of Smite right now, even if you have a massive lead, if the enemy has their tier 2s up. Now, I had picked up the bomb from Pyro, so I'm going to throw it down to this tier 2 so I can go ahead and hop back on this one and grab ourselves that oboe just to get a crazy amount of attack speed in the build, which is good for Anhur. Now, as far as the Executioner level up, you're always going to go ahead and grab that Ferocious Executioner. That's the one on the left. Don't accidentally buy the one on the right, because that will cap your attack speed at 2.9, and you will be a very, very sad boy. That is not what you're trying to do. You're not trying to buy all this attack speed and then take away all of your attack speed. That would be a tragedy.
An enemy has been slain.
For your active level ups, same things that you're always buying. You're going to get the cooldown upgrade for Beads, Temporal. On Blink, you can either go the Scorching Blink or Corrupted. If you went Aegis, either of the Aegises are also good upgrades. If you're getting dove by a lot of melee characters, the bonus damage around you can be very sick. If you're getting killed by range characters, I honestly just recommend the bonus movement speed Aegis, so that way you can get away from whatever target is trying to kill you. Now, I'm gonna try to block this Karen, not quite gonna get it off. Our Blink is up in a couple of seconds, but not before I'm gonna jump in on this guy. And you can see with my attack speed how much damage I am getting off on him. So much damage. I've got so much pen. I've got so much power. I've got so much attack speed. And even though the first like 5 minutes of the game didn't snowball for us, it doesn't really matter anymore. Anhur used to be super dependent on those first 5 minutes of the game snowballing out of control. The way that the game has changed over the past like 5 months or so, throughout basically the last season and a half, have really changed the game in favor of Anhur. Strong ADC right now. Still really strong early game and wants to be paired with an aggressive support, but doesn't drop off nearly as hard as he used to. And he has a lot of self ways to peel off of this tank meta, which means if he gets dove by tanks, he can impale away, he can jump away, he can pillar. Very good at self-peeling, and having a hunter that can keep themselves alive does save your support a lot of peel, so they can focus on the mid laner, or they can focus on initiating a bunch of stuff like that. And of course, if you'd like to support the Twitchiest community and these guides, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and of course, make sure you're subscribed to our second channel as well for all of those sweet, sweet VODs. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a Twitchin' day, y'all.